Good evening, everyone. Such a pleasure to be here and to see all your faces under those masks. I know we wish it could be different, but let's make the best of it. As we have seen, today I'm going to be talking about the universe inside your mind and how do I think that your limits are not the same as mine. Before we start, I have to make two clarifications. First of all, I'm a theater fan, and because I'm a theater fan, I will be developing in different acts. So I will try to make an act 1, act 2, I will try to reach a climax, and then I will try to reach a falling action. Therefore, what I'm going to be making is I'm going to be making it a bit more interactive, and hopefully along the way you will be able to make connections about what I have been doing and how and which type of meaning or significance I want to express. A second clarification is that I'm not like a rule or any type of wise person with the knowledge of showing you different type of things or learnings or lessons about all type of psychological things. So that's why I'm not aiming for you to like literally change your life when you walk out of here today. But I just want you to at some point take my personal experience, just build it up, and hopefully you will be able to learn something. As my act 1, I will just say this. A good place to look for wisdom is where you least expect it to find it. In the mind of your opponents, you can see your higher capacities. Do you understand what I mean with this? Yes? No? Let's do something. Let's keep just doubt in the air, and let's continue and move on. Now, I just want to say something to open up. Your brain is extremely extraordinary. And now you wonder, why? Well, do you know what these two pretty pictures here are having similar or having common? Well, actually one is a photo of the galaxy and the other one is a photo of your brain cells. It's really cool, huh? Well, what I think about this and something I found out is that there's something known as the neuron forest. The neuron forest consists on all the connections that your neuron makes, and because of all these connections, you're able to remember all different things. Maybe for 20 years, you haven't been able to, I don't know, sing a song, remember a specific event, or just being able to, I don't know, smile because of a simple aspect, or, I don't know, something about your life. But that's why the mind is so incredible that at some point, somebody will just show up and say, hey, do you remember when we did this? And you'll be like, oh my God, that's true, I remember that. So, that's why today, I just want to tell you something, that the mind, a lot of scientists are trying to explain how much storage, like if we're on type of laptop or something, we have inside of our brains. Even though it's unknown, they say we have around 1 million gigabytes. And now you're thinking, well, Chris, can you start talking a bit more of come back to English because this is a bit complex. Well, let's assume you have a video recorder. And let's assume, because I don't know who has a video recorder today, because of Netflix and Disney Plus and whatsoever, but let's assume you have one. Okay, so you turn it on and you want to record it 24 hours for 7 days a week, for literally 12 months. And then you're going to do that same action for 300 years. That's how much it will take you to fill 1 million gigabytes of storage. And now it's still what do I still mean, or what do I referring to this specific thing? Well, in 1 million gigabytes, you can have around 2,592,000 hours of content. That's the amount of hours of video you will have. Well, let's say you like Game of Thrones. Well, Game of Thrones from season 1 to season 8 has 72 hours of content. Well, I mean, it might be cool and it might be enjoyable to watch Game of Thrones from start to the end in marathons and whatsoever. But now let's put it like this. What if I tell you that with the capacity of storage or the capacity of your mind I just talked about, you can watch Game of Thrones from season 1 to season 8 36,000 times, and you will still have storage in the back of your mind to be able to keep watching more and more and more. Well, Now you're thinking, oh, am I in a brain 101 with Christian and like I'm here to talk about the brain and neuroscience and whatsoever? And the answer is no, I'm not here for that. But in conclusion about what I just talked about the brain and scientific stuff, your brain is amazing. And that's what makes us human. That's an amazing gadget and tool that it will be a bit of a shame if we don't take advantage of it. Now, there's something I don't specifically agree with either how we're learning or either how we're expected to act in different types of either academics or social interactions. Just let's open up with something. The fact that we can only use the 10% of our mind, it's a myth, it's not true. And you actually use 10% of your mind only, and even when you're dreaming, like when you're asleep, you're already using that 10%. Just imagine when you're already awake. So now I just want to make this small question. To all the people who are here, please, can you raise your hand if you have ever felt that you have been close or you have met someone who is at least a little bit smarter than you? Me, myself, I've met a lot of people, and I mean, that's really cool, like being able, to meet someone who has a higher capacity or intellect in some sort of areas. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the person is smart than you in all sense. There are ways in which you can actually prove yourself and prove others, even though it's not necessarily, the high value you have as a person. Now, let's reach what I call the climax. And it's time for a story time. And let's go a bit deeper and personal in this part of the story. So, at some point of my life, I start thinking that my brain has the only capacity of having perhaps 200 gigawatts of storage. I close my mind in saying, well, I cannot learn more than here. I've already been studying 5 hours, I've been already going through half of the book, and that's it. That's my limit. I will not be able to go beyond. And I start thinking a lot of things, and this highly affected my self-esteem. In such a point that I one morning woke up and said to myself, why did my national committee send me here? Like, it could have been any other Guatemalan from my generation who could have been sent here and said, hey, maybe that person will be doing something better than what you're doing today. And then, during the last summer break, I started thinking about this type of things and just have a big moment of realization. And thought, wow, the fact that I'm not able to do this doesn't mean that I cannot shine and be as good as I can be in other areas of my life. Perhaps for me, one of the things I'm able to do is being here, standing up and talking to you. But perhaps for somebody else, is doing an amazing drawing. For somebody else, is writing an amazing poem. Or for somebody else, is just expressing yourself and being who you are. This moment of realization hit me so hard that I just started thinking, wow, I can actually make a change, even though I don't score the highest scores perhaps in math or chemistry. Maybe that's not the point that I'm here or I was made for. I'm not saying I'm giving up, but I'm saying that even though here I'm not in my highest point, that doesn't mean that tomorrow I cannot make a change. It doesn't have to be a big change, but perhaps as long as I change those people who are around me and I can do it in a positive way, I think it makes a really good sense for us to try. Are there solutions? What I can tell you about this, perhaps just stop a moment and say, well, why if I stop judging myself so hard? Why if, like, I don't know, the person I see through the mirror and I say, well, boy, girl, or I don't know, non-binary person, I do believe that you have something special in you, okay? We most have to learn to appreciate our brains, because as I told you, it's an amazing gadget. Now, how all what I'm talking about is actually related to the opening quote. Hopefully you heard about it and you actually thought about it just a little bit. And what I want to say right now is that even though sometimes we are in front of those who are actually and even demonstrate that they can be smart in some area, rather than feeling, oh my God, they are my opponents, they are my enemies, I should beat them, and actually quoting what Una said, I do think that like together we're stronger. And so that's why I think that even though there are so many factors that we have to come into consideration, we're still a beautiful person who has so much capacity to do so many things. As the last thing from my side, and this is something we have been doing today, but if you can tell your story, then you will heal yourself. But at the same time, you will help other people to do the same. This has a quote by Andrea Buchanan that I read, and this is one of the things that inspired me to stand up here in front and just share a personal story about how I overcome something, and hopefully we'll keep growing, because this is still not the end for me. So, thanks for coming to my TED Talk.